Hi guys, Joshua Reactions, and this video I'm going to react to episode 3 of season 1 of the Umbrella Academy. First of all, I guess a little disclaimer, I edited episode 1 and 2 and I realized once again I made some very stupid mistakes or theories. Somehow, I thought that when Luther was talking with Diego in this, I believe it was the second episode, that they came to the conclusion that Diego was having an argument with his father in the night he died. So that's why I had this whole stupid theory that I'm not going to repeat again. But anyways, instead of what they were literally saying, while Luther was literally holding a freaking poster that Diego had some kind of boxing match or fight, so he was nowhere near his dad when he died. So therefore, he had an alibi, which is literally what they said. Luther literally asked him, like, why didn't you tell me this? And Diego answered him, replied as in with, I shouldn't have to, or should have to defend myself. I don't know. I'm still not sure what the heck happened. While I was at it, I was like, oh no, oh no, how can I be so stupid? But yeah, I'm probably gonna be stupid a lot of times. But if you watched my reactions, you already know that I can be very stupid. So yeah, thank you so much for your patience as always. So with that out of the way, let's get into it. Wow. Alright, that was episode 3, and once again a very enjoyable episode. We started off with Vanya, who was writing, and we also saw her promoting a story. And it seemed like it didn't take that long before people were already kind of over the story and it wasn't really a hot topic. But even though, it wasn't really as popular as I thought it would be, or not as long as I thought it would be, we also got to see how her family was reading the book everywhere, all over the place, including on the freaking moon as well, if I'm correct. No, not the moon. Or, well, the moon. Whatever. Anyways, everyone was reading the books and kind of seeing their reaction to it, which was nice to see, even though also a little bit painful because we know that they weren't taking it that lightly. But I do understand where Vanya's coming from, try to make her own path, and she's also been through some stuff, especially with every time people are just telling her, especially her father, that she's not special, and she wasn't included. I don't know, I can't even imagine how lonely she must have felt. So I understand that she wanted to make her own mark and that she wanted to write a story. I'm just not so sure about the whole, publicly bringing out that book, and you're also sharing their lives. So not so sure how I feel about that. It would be a little bit more easy if she just wrote it down but wasn't really planning on publishing it. They also Diego and his ex also found some shells which were connected to a cold case, and I keep forgetting the year, like was it 1938, which still is linked to the thing I'm confused about, the two assassins who are also time travelers, I'm pretty sure. But anyways, I'm still confused because they said they never went after one of their own. So do they mean that one of their own, that Five was also for a time an assassin? Which I still don't understand the timeline. I don't know. I mean, we know that at some point he's also older, but we haven't really seen him older other than on the picture and when he was traveling back to this time. Because I think the fingerprints were from Five, I thought, but maybe not. I don't know. But I thought that was from Five, and then the shells are from the assassin, so they were both in that same period of time, and they weren't expecting him to be young. They thought he would have been old, just as in the picture. So I'm still waiting for more answers of that. Or maybe I once again missed stuff. Throughout the episode, but also the previous episode, we saw that their mom, or Grace, was being a little bit off with her behavior, including on the funeral. And it's not that weird that a robot that is that old, I would say, and that her creator is also gone, and isn't as well maintained, that at some point wouldn't really do what she should be doing. In this case, being a protector, which was also part of her programming. And we also got to see, that at some point there was a discussion, they were voting whether they should shut her off or not. And as I discussed during the episode, I was wondering, like, hey, are they capable of having feelings. I don't know. Again, a lot of fiction robots are capable of fiction. I'm hoping in the real world that's not the case. We'll see about that in so many years. Um, but I was behind about not shutting it down but finding another way. But I think it's clear that it was either shut down or not. I don't think at this point any one of them is capable of doing something else as updating her. But it was interesting to see who voted for and who voted against. Um, Another thing that was kind of disturbing to me, to say the least, is that Allison said to Luther that she used her power on her own daughter uh, because her daughter was having all these tantrums and she couldn't handle it. And even though she knows as a mom that it's not weird that her daughter was having these, she just couldn't handle it anymore. And she used her power, and she convinced herself that she would only use it once, but then it happens more and more often. And I'm trying to imagine if I would have that power. I can understand that there would be a temptation of using it if things are getting hard, especially if you being raised by constantly having to use that power and trying to, I guess, using your powers to your own advantage and all that stuff. Uh, it makes sense that it's part of, like, it's a normal thing of her of using powers. She's constantly using this power on others, on the kids. She's using it on bad guys, so it's not like, I mean, as far as I know, I don't think her dad taught her to use it on random people and all that. But she has been doing that, and she also got a career out of it, and God knows what else. Um, so it's not, I wouldn't say it's like that surprising, but I do think it's quite sick. I'm not sure if I could ever trust someone, especially my mom, if I would have found out that she used a power like that on me. And wow, like, how would you even know how many times she used that? Like, who, who knows what kind of decisions you made in your life that weren't really your decisions? It's really messed up. I mean, I do really like Allison still, and thank God she realizes it's wrong, but eesh, she's still done it. Um, I'm kind of hoping that at some point, assuming that her daughter will be able to forgive her, but I also wouldn't be mad at daughter if she can't, to see Allison and her daughter and Luther on the moon, having some kind of tourist thing. I don't know. I would love to see them happy at some point. And I do like Luther and Allison together. Uh, Another something that surprised me was one of the assassins. I think his name is Hazel, and the other was Cha Cha. Cha Cha, sorry, but Hazel was when he was in the diner and having his donut. He was definitely at his most, I guess, human at the tea with him and how do you say her name? Agnes? Her name that meant pure. Uh, he actually seemed to have some feelings and emotions there. Uh, he, I thought that he was actually cute, and until I remembered that he's a creep who doesn't think there's something wrong with happily eating something or snacking while someone is being tortured. So yeah, no, no. And they're still the bad guys. No thanks. And five, yeah, he seems to be losing more and more grip on reality. I do fully believe what he said, but I'm kind of frustrated. I'm someone who needs clear answers. Well, not the whole time. I mean, I watch more shows where things are more, I guess, a lot more complicated. But I guess I'm really bad with like mystery things. I don't know. I'm just really curious and hoping for that episode where we will get to see more of Five. The things we've been through, and this whole thing about him being an older guy and all that, and whatever. Like, and his whole deal with the assassins, because they didn't even know about this Umbrella Academy or the others. They were just like, who are these people? So I'm so curious. But anyways, I do trust. I do trust them, generally speaking, even though I'm feeling kind of stupid and I trusted someone who's talking to a freaking mannequin and not just talking to a mannequin, but thinks it's like it's wife or girlfriend. Like, and now even part of like the future was interwoven with the present time. He's losing it, and we really can't. Especially because there are only 6 days until the world is gonna end. No pressure. A little bit sadder that he wasn't with the big fight at the end, but I think it would have been a little bit too easy if he would have been there. And, you know, assuming he would have been able to use his powers again. I mean, we did saw him use his power again, but I mean, continuously using his power. You know, that he doesn't run out of his. Did I really just want to say run out of his juices? Run out of his powers. Um. Speaking of that fight, was yet again also this show is very good at giving us these fun, energetic fight scenes. With the music. I mean, I don't want every show to do that with the music, and so there are shows where the noise where we're using some fun or poppy song. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'd rather have some original soundtrack. And generally speaking, I do prefer that, but for this show and for the tone we are having in the show so far, it works for me. I'm not sure if it works for everyone. You know, let me know if you don't, but for me it works with the humor they're also having, and especially now with Klaus constantly being in the background, fading in and fading out, living in his own little world. I guess having some me time. Yeah, I don't know, it worked. But what the hell was that when the freaking I'm not even sure how you call it in English, but the thing fell on top of Luther, and then Luther rose, and I thought first I was shocked that he was, still quite alive, but then I was like, oh wait, then we saw his, I mean, he has a rather unique torso, I would say. So in the part I was a little bit confused when we saw that Diego cut him, and we saw this like hair. I was like, wait a minute, like, am I seeing hair? And I was like, okay, like, it's not weird that people have hair on their arms, but it seemed a little bit more longer than average or more than average, I would say. Um, but now we saw his torso, and I kind of like it reminded me of those typical werewolf torsos, but I don't know. I'm still confused with the whole thing. I kind of want to call him Wolf Boy. I have no idea. I joked. Like I said, I joked that he might have been might be a werewolf, but I was like, why would a werewolf be on the moon? Would be kind of a funny twist, but I have no idea. I also thought maybe Wolf because they were very stressful about him. About Diego cutting him with one of his knives, and I thought like, hey, maybe it's made of, I guess, silver, and that's why they're very stressful whenever it cuts Luther, because we know werewolves really don't like silver, to say the least. But I have no idea. I don't know. So I'm just gonna wait, I guess, until it's handed on me on a silver platter. Like, hey, this is what he is, Marley. Okay, lol, move along. Yeah, and then we had a scene. Well, had a scene, a sad scene, where Diego was saying goodbye to his mom, and he realized that when she didn't do anything, even though they were clearly in a lot of trouble with a lot of bullets and a lot of fighting and a lot of wounds, his mom just continued to, however you whatever you call this, and not just continue to do that, but it was also going through her freaking hand. And, so he realized that, yeah, she is. It's not just off; she's way off, and I don't know. It did that did touch me. That was I think it was well acted, very well acted again. And Diego. I'm not saying I don't think I don't like him, and like him, dislike him. I can quite like him, but a lot of times he's being acting a little bit like a jerk, I would say, even though I understand where he's coming from. But in this scene, even though it was a horrible scene, he wasn't the most likable to me, I would say. I wish there was another scene where I could be like, oh, Diego, yeah, I'm behind you. Like, I wish it would have been a more fun scene, but nah, we need scenes like this as well, I believe. Um, again, a lot of weird things happen in this show, but the characters still feel grounded to me. It's not too over the top or too much for me. And I hope they continue to, you know, have that balance, that it's not too out there. And I'd say that can be fun, but I'm enjoying it as it is right now. So, yeah, I enjoyed it, and I'm excited for the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.